Good morning, it's Alyssa here from Creekside Simplicity, and it's been a while since I've given you a garden tour. So I thought I would just give you guys a quick update this morning and show you what's going on in the garden. So here's kind of the view from the entrance, and I want to show you guys something exciting that we've just done. So I'm going to flip the camera around so I can give you a tour. So first of all, I hope you can't hear all the road noise. It's a little later out here than what I'd like to be recording, so we've got a bit of traffic going by, but I hope that you can block some of that out like I try to do. So the most exciting addition to our garden this year has been these cattle panel trellises. We just got these up this past weekend, so a few days ago, and my husband put all the T-posts in and fastened everything so it's nice and secure, and the weight of the fruit isn't going to knock anything over, knock on wood. But how we're doing it is each bed has a trellis attached to it. And so just at the base of each bed, I'm planting some climbing veggies. So on this side is going to be actually loofah. And then on this side of the trellis, they haven't sprouted yet, but it's going to be cucumbers. So I kind of tried to match up what was on each side based on size and growth patterns and that kind of thing. I didn't want to plant both sides with the same thing because I wanted a little bit more variety than that would allow us, since we only have the 5 trellises. So anyhow, that's what's happening with those, and then as things grow, they will climb over the top, hopefully. And then the goal is to have a beautiful food tunnel as we walk through the garden. So I'll just give you a quick overview of what I've put in each bed this year. So this first bed over here is all of our leafy greens. And I specifically chose this spot for these greens because we have this big shade tree here on the south side, and it tends to cast a lot of shade on this bed, which I thought would be perfect for the greens because they might not bolt quite as fast if they have some shade. So as you can see, everything's coming up pretty good. It's the 1st of June today, and these have been in for, I want to say about 4 weeks by now. So everything's coming up nicely. We've already harvested a few salads from here. And then down here at this end, these were actually volunteers that had popped up in what was last year's greens bed. And instead of pulling them out, I gently transplanted them over here, and I just thought I will see how they will do. This is actually bok choy, which quickly bolted and went to seed. But I'm going to leave those for a while because the pollinators really like those beautiful yellow flowers. And then I might collect some seed from those when they're done. So that is the greens bed. And then over here we have tomatoes, peppers, and basil. And I, again, kind of rearranged things a little bit differently this year. I'm doing the tomatoes in a row, and then in between the tomato rows, I'm alternating, that guy doesn't look too happy, peppers and basil. We did have a frost the night before. So we did cover everything, but it looks like this pepper plant must not have been fully covered, and he must have got hit. So anyway, I may have to replant one there. So more peppers and basil and tomatoes. And then on each end of this bed, I put a row of marigolds. Marigolds help to deter the tomato hornworm. So fingers crossed that it'll actually work, because last year we had a few and they're pretty gross. Not to mention they demolish your tomato plants pretty quickly. So, and then these blank squares here that don't have anything in them yet, I actually planted borage seeds, or borage, however you pronounce that. But they are also supposed to help repel the hornworm. And because they put off beautiful flowers, they actually attract the pollinators too. And as you know, tomatoes and peppers are fruits, so therefore they need to be pollinated. So I want lots of pollinator plants in this bed. So that is the tomato bed. Not much to see in here yet, unless you look really close. I decided to do another bed for all of my annual flowers, so I can do cut flowers to bring in the house. And so rather than taking them from our flower beds, I prefer to just grow a whole bed just for cut flowers. And because they're annuals, I like to kind of keep them separate anyway. So that's what's in here. They're starting to pop up a little bit. And then here we have, this is one I'm very excited about this year, is our strawberries. They are not only flowering, but if we look closely, I might even be able to show you a berry. Let's see. Here we go. We have strawberries starting. And I did have this over them as a frost cover. We did have a couple nights of frost, as I mentioned. So for now, I've got the sides rolled up because they don't need to be covered right now. But my goal is, because this is on such a nice little frame that fits perfectly over this bed, is I'm going to purchase some bird netting, and I'm going to take off this plastic and I'm going to put bird netting over this bed, so that way we actually get to eat some of the strawberries before all the birds get to them. Now we do have all kinds of wild berries that grow all over our property that the birds are more than welcome to. But we're growing these ones for us, so I'm kind of excited to see what kind of a yield we will get the first year. I know typically your second year yield is better, but that's kind of an exciting new addition for this year. And then next to the strawberries we have, this is our garlic and onions bed. As you can see, the tall ones are the garlic. We put those in the fall, so they had a big head start. And then all of our onions are doing pretty well also. I had a couple extra squares here, so I threw in some dill seeds. Anytime I have blank squares, I like to throw in some dill, because again, it helps to repel some of the insects that we don't want, and it also attracts beneficial insects if you let it go to flower. Plus we just use a ton of dill, so I can never have enough dill in our garden. And then at the very back row, so this is the north side, the north end of the garden, I've planted sunflowers, just because I think they're pretty, and I really enjoy having pretty things in my garden as well. So they'll grow up nice and tall, but they'll be on the north end of the bed, so they shouldn't shade anything. And then sadly, these were my beans, which were doing beautifully until they got hit by that frost. The first night I didn't, there was no frost forecasted, but clearly we got some anyway, and I hadn't covered anything, so I lost almost all of my beans. There's still a few that are kicking, but I will likely just pull this whole bed and replant it. We still have time. It's still fairly early in the season, so I'm going to go ahead and get some more seed and replant this bed. These are all bush beans, or they were bush beans. And then at the bottom of the trellis is where I'm planting pole beans. And again, you can see they got hit by the frost too. So I will pull those as well and replant. And then here we have peas. Again, this side is a little bit shadier, so the peas don't mind getting a little bit of shade cover. But they're doing quite well. They're pretty happy over here. And I hope soon that we'll be able to snack on some peas. So I only grow sugar snap and snow peas. We like to eat them raw, and we just basically eat them right off the plant as a snack. So that's what we grow these for. They almost never even make it inside the house because we usually just come out and snack on them. So, and then at the back here, again, I try to tuck in some beneficial flowers. So back here I've planted nasturtiums, which also help to trap some not so nice bugs who might want to eat my plants. So as these grow and fill out, they'll kind of spill over the sides of the bed and help to deter some of those bugs. And then here we have, this is my roots bed. So here, of course, are radishes. They pop up quite quickly, so they should actually be ready to harvest any day now. I checked one yesterday. It still didn't have much of a bulb on it, so I'm going to keep watering and give it a few more days. And then we have carrots and beets. And then at the base of this trellis are melons. I can't remember exactly which ones. I didn't mark these, but I think it's an oca and something else. I forget. I have it written down somewhere, but anyway, there will be trellis melons climbing on both sides of this trellis. My little gardening stool that I stole from my husband's shop. And then here, this is actually another experiment today. We are going to try to do corn in the raised bed. Now last year I did corn over in our in-ground garden, and we didn't have great success with it. Seemed like a lot of critters like to come in and chomp them down as they were just starting to grow, and they didn't pollinate very well, so we didn't get very big ears on them. So I'm trying a different method this year. This was actually one of the recommendations in the square foot gardening book, which if you follow me at all, you know that I love square foot gardening, hence the grids on all of my beds. And the recommended spacing in the square foot gardening book for corn is 4 per square foot. So that's what I've done, and I'm going to see how that turns out. I know that corn is a very heavy feeder, so I'll probably top dress with some more compost about halfway through the season, just to make sure they're getting enough nutrients. But I am super excited. If this works out, we should get about 13 dozen cobs of corn out of this one little area. So fingers crossed. And then at the back here, I've put zucchini. So zucchini, as we know, takes up lots of space, but I like to stake my zucchini. Just kind of keeps it a little bit more contained, and then I can prune the bottom leaves and keep it from getting any kind of mildew or fungal disease on it. So these will be tied to the stake. This one hasn't germinated yet, so I've replanted it. So this one is a yellow zucchini, and then over here will be a green zucchini. I find that for our family, 2 zucchini plants is more than enough. So that is the corn and zucchini bed. And then of course, at the base of the trellis, we have lemon cucumbers on this side. And then on the other side where the strawberries are, I've planted pickling cucumbers. So they're roughly the same size, will grow in a similar way, so I put them on the same trellis. And then I also, at the end of the corn, planted a row of dill. And again, I'm just trying to do some more companion type planting throughout each bed, and we never have enough dill, so that works for me. And then this bed, nothing to see here yet because I just planted our potatoes the other day. They haven't come anywhere close to sprouting yet, so just daily watering and looking for some leaves to start popping up. And then at the base of this bed, I believe we have watermelon on this side, the sugar baby watermelon. And then there's another kind of melon on the other side of the trellis. And that's it. That brings us back to the leaves bed. And so yeah, we're still kind of in that stage of, you know, everything's planted, but we're just kind of waiting for things to start growing. And of course I have to replant those beans, which kind of makes me sad, but it's not the end of the world. Those are sometimes the risks that you take when you get anxious to get things in the ground, and there's still a risk of frost. That was a very late frost in the season for us. So anyway, that is the garden update for June 1st of 2021. And I would love to hear in the comments below how your garden is doing. And if you have any questions about my garden, I sometimes get questions about this square foot gardening method. So if you do have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments and I will answer them when I can. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day and happy gardening. Bye for now.